With the double biceps, it is in the contract a legally required obligation. Every single time we appear on camera, just ticking the check boxes, making sure the lawyers are happy. We did see two biceps. The man to my left, but to your right, the co-pilot, the co-founder, the co-breather of air, the co-wearer of clothes in this very room. It is, in fact, the master of disaster, the king of sting, the count of Monte Cristo. It is Thunderlips, the ultimate male. It is, in fact, the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year award. There it is there, the illustrious trophy held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. It is your friend and mine. It is Dave Stockbridge. Stockbridge, welcome to the AWE podcast.
Well, thank you very much for that very, very warm welcome. As always, Hollywood Matt Connelly, and as always, it's been a massive week in the world of arm wrestling.
It's always a massive week.
Without exception. Exception.
We'll make it massive no matter what.
Well, we've got plenty to talk about. We've got Ryan Blue Bowen, who will be dropping in sometime in the next half hour or so. So certainly stay tuned for that one. Like last week, this is probably going to be a big one. It's going to be a good one. And there's going to be lots of talk about AWE 3. And of course, a little bit of that the rumors, the background, what is going on in that strange world of arm wrestling right now with the promoters and phone calls being made from across the seas and olive branches being left out to dry and people being blocked. It's all going on in the world of arm wrestling behind the scenes, but when you step away from all of that kind of rigmarole, all of that schmozzle in the background.
Schmozzle.
There's a massive match. There's a big card going on the 22nd of October.
Absolutely.
And of course we've got some of India's best making their way over for AWE 3. But although that's the headline for it all, there's a whole series of announcements we've got for the world today with respect to AWE 3. Hollywood Matt Connelly.
It is massive announcements.
Massive.
Couldn't get more massive, but it just reminded me then of going to Bunnings with my wife and
massive
Bunnings. We were looking for something or another on a hose fitting or whatever, and we couldn't find it. We asked the guy, "Can you help us out?" Yep, no worries. Lovely older guy. Yep, here you go, mate. And as he gave it to me, he goes, "There's the one got a schnozzle on it," and I couldn't stop giggling for the next 2 minutes. He was explaining how it works. I didn't hear a word he said. All I heard was schnozzle.
Schnozzle. I didn't even know that was a nozzle, maybe, but schnozzle. It's not. It's an actual.
It was a technical term.
Yeah, it's part of the coupling mechanism. It
was. Yeah,
it was like part
definitely.
Of it. Would a schnozzle have a flange?
It did. It had It had a St. Elmo's pipeline, I think. And a dolphin flange.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, AWE 3, 22nd of October, obviously hot topic conversation for us right now, and much of the card has already been announced. There's been a little reshuffling here and there, which we'll get into more detail with fans of arm wrestling very, very soon, but perhaps Hollywood Matt Connelly, you'd like to welcome our friends from around the world into the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the usual suspects here. We've got Fox 8 Ball, who, that's the Drew. I've clicked on the wrong comment there, but that's the Fox 8 Ball there, who changes his name weekly, it seems. He's now Foxzilla, I believe.
Excellent. I see that as an upgrade.
Yeah, that's pretty good. He's given us the middle finger at the end of the name there as well. So just to really highlight, the power of the Fox. It's Fox something. It'll always be in there. And then we've got the Drew, the legendary Drew. He says, well. Good morning to you, or good evening. I'm not sure what time it is in Las Vegas, but hello to you, Mr. Drew. And then we have James Stewart, who says hello to you too, sir. We haven't seen you on here before. If you're a fan of the show, this is maybe your first experience, and hopefully you're getting as much schnozzle out of it as you can.
We'd like to think everybody's getting their schnozzles worth.
That's right. If you don't get your schnozzles worth, maybe you can get one at Bunnings, I believe.
Yeah. We'll replace that schnozzle with a flange. Or your money back.
Your money back. We've got Rapper, who says he's currently driving, but he's still tuning in. He's putting in the effort, and we appreciate that, Rapper. Good on you, sir.
Yeah, I hope you got the video function on. You're paying no attention to what you're doing.
That's right. Make sure it's on full, big screen right in front of your window above the steering wheel.
Yeah. You're just scrolling through the comments. Yeah, as
just type.
as
Yeah.
cruising along.
I do like the fact that he's put the effort in to write a comment while he's driving, dobbing himself in.
Yeah, we know you just use the little audio function of Siri to help you out.
Well, he can't because he's put a little icon there too, which you need to click the screen for.
That's the giveaway.
That's right.
Well, let's hope none of the police in your jurisdiction are paying any attention to the AWE podcast. But if the police are, we welcome them to the chat. Certainly join in anytime you like.
If any police are out there and they do happen to pull Rafa over, say hello.
And it looks like Phil Woody has us up on at least one of the 37 screens that you'll find on the plastered to the walls of his den, of his arm wrestling den,
the swordfish,
dug many meters underneath ground level, just in case something does badly happen above. So he's safe,
and you can still watch all the streams.
Yeah. So just in the event of absolute catastrophe, Phil Woody will be able to keep the arm wrestling world alive and keep the memory of arm wrestling going for future generations. If he's the only, if there aren't any other survivors, it'll be Phil Woody, and of course he would have recorded everything.
That's
so
right.
He'll be the vessel.
That's right.
For all things
tell us about that AWE podcast, Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Well,
schnozzles to the left.
Yeah, there was this guy, and he had this double bicep, and he had a friend, and he had a long introduction for his little friend.
What was the introduction again?
Well,
one day
you can sing it with me.
Gather round, children.
Gather round.
Oh, it's great. Couch Apple is here.
Like a chant that's just maintained for generations. Just so your introduction.
Yeah.
That's what'll live long in the hearts of arm wrestling fans, generations.
I hope to think
we'll
so.
be on the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Mr. Couch Apple, who's not Mr. this time, he's just Couch Apple from the Great Dane. He says howdy. No, they said howdy over in Denmark.
Well, there's a big cowboy culture in Denmark.
Oh,
yes. But if you're not getting a nice waffle on your walk, on your bike ride to work, then there's every chance that you're riding your horse somewhere.
Do they have the cowboy hats and everything?
No. Well, look, what I do know about the Danes is that they do love a radio.
Oh, do they?
They do love a radio.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're smaller radios.
Yeah. Smaller horses.
Yes.
Right.
Because it's a smaller country.
But
they
can't fit the bigger horses in there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they make adjustments for the European market. Of course, like all the cars are smaller in Europe. All the radios are smaller as well.
Right. Do you remember those rides that would be out the front of like a big W or something, and it would be 20? It was 40 cents. It was 2 times 20-cent coins. You'd put it in, and it was a horse, and it would just sort of, or it was a motorbike sometimes.
That's the Danish radio.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. It was named after the.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Bringing back those memories there, Couch Apple. We've got Kyle Davison, who's literally in my eye line right now. Hello to you, sir. The schnozzle. He's a big fan. He loves the schnozzle.
And very graciously assisting us with the setup. So, thank you for all the kind comments already about the wonderful set and how there hasn't been any. But
we haven't got that.
But if we did happen to have a comment about it, it'll be because of this young man who's on the other side of our screen right now, leaving little comments. Just jumping in, trolling.
He's like a producer over there. He's
almost
got a hat on and everything.
Yeah,
it's a 10-gallon drum hat from to respect the Couch Apple, the Danish cowboy culture. Phil Woody, he's saying hello to Couch Apple as well. You can say howdy; he'll understand.
Yeah. Tip of the hat.
There you go. Oh, morning, Phil. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Private conversations. Yeah.
The Drew delivering Uber Eats orders. Oh, that's what you're doing tonight. Okay,
nice. Well, squeeze a couple of them in before bed. Yeah.
So it is late night in Las Vegas, but the Drew is out on the road, also driving as well.
Also driving and watching, or driving and listening. I'd be interested to know.
That's right. Lachlan Carpenter, one of the featured athletes on that
AWE Superstar.
That's right, absolutely, and looking stronger by the day. him and Mario Tambarkas putting up some big numbers in the gym lately. He says, I'm going to become the king of Latvia October 22nd. And he's put a little crown there too. Well, there you go.
Yeah, a lot of titles being claimed. AWE 3. We've got King of the Emperor of India. That's up for grabs. So that's Ryan Bluebone and Mazahir Saidoon. So who has been declared the King of India, and King of Dubai and King of Hearts.
Wow,
I understand is the full title the full title. Yes, that is announcer at Pro Punja bestowed upon him just recently. So, and I think all accurate as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
So plenty of titles up for grabs. So presumably, if Ryan loses, maybe say 2-4,
say it isn't
he might be able to just claim the King of Hearts title.
Oh yeah,
he might not get all 3 titles.
Okay, so like 1 per round.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So it'd be like an apportionment of the titles distributed based on the overall performance. So it's a different system. It's more like PFL.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
More convoluted.
Right.
But yeah.
It's
everyone walks away a winner unless they lose.
Unless you lose 4-0.
In which case
you don't get a name at all. That's right.
I don't know what happens. To Ryan Bluebone if he loses.
Disappear
4-0.
into the mist, I think.
Yeah. Do we ever give him another matchup? That's the question. That's the question.
He's one of the founders and owners of.
I know it makes all the conversations awkward.
Yeah, look, Ryan. What's 4-0? Yeah, I don't know, mate. It might not be working out for you.
Yeah, well, we might have a women's league soon.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well,
never know.
Maybe you could hold out for it. Josh Barker says, "G'day, champions. G'day to you, Josh. Looking beefy again in the forearm there."
Yes.
Those that don't know Josh Barker, he is one of the AWE superstars, and he is mostly forearm.
Mostly forearm. I've been watching Lachlan Carpenter do and Lachlan Adair as well. They're doing the pull-ups, and seemingly going for monstrous amounts of reps on their own body weight. And I think Lachlan Carpenter's about 120 kilos at the moment, and he's doing it with ease. So I wonder how many are you getting out, Lachlan? And also for our 70 kilo Australian champion, Josh Barker, how many are you able to get out? Because forearm to body weight ratio is to mean anything in a pull up. You would imagine Josh Barker would be, I don't know, somewhere in the vicinity of 700 to 800 reps. So
somewhere around there.
So somewhere in that vicinity.
Right.
So roughly.
Yes.
So I'd be interested to know, or just plain disappointed to find out. Well, we'll find out. Hopefully, Josh drops us a number there. So,
have you tried to do a one-arm chin-up?
Yes, it failed, and still recovering.
Is that what happened to your elbow? Is that why it crunches now? Can you do it to the? Yeah, let's turn the microphone.
Here we go. I don't know if
you can sort of hear something.
So it's like
that crunching sound. If you can hear it,
sound a tree makes just before it topples over. That's basically what we've got going on there. So
that's right.
You yourself.
I can do it like that, but that doesn't count. You got to do it with just the one arm. Which I can't do it. It's insane. But I did watch a tutorial on how to do it, and then I realized how much work it would require to get to that level, and I was like, I don't really want it that much.
Gave it away at that point. Yeah.
But that was quite interesting because it was some gymnast guys that were doing it. And they were showing that the levels of progression that you can take. So obviously they've started with 2 arms, and then he's got like one of those stretchy bands, and he was using that. And then he was sort of leaning one leg out, and it progressed through stages before you got to the one arm.
Whereas you're just like, I
was like, I didn't move at all. I was just hanging. I was like, I'm trying to move.
I can't even hold on.
Try to get up. I am trying. So I wonder if Josh Barker can do a one-arm chin-up or any of the guys.
I'm sure Josh Barker could.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. I'd love to see it. Captain Obvious says, big ups to the AWE. Good day, sirs. Break out the dried meats. Absolutely. Barbell, egg-dried biltong steak. That's right here for our consumption. And yours could be too. You can use the code ARMWRESTLE to get 10% off at Barbell Foods. Yes.
Indeed.
So yes, fantastic sponsor of the AWE podcast there. Phil Woody gives us a nice little icon there. It gave the icon, it didn't give the description. I prefer the description actually. Yeah. It's a little man with sunglasses. Rafa says it's 12:25 a.m. No one's on the road, luckily. Busy day today, but I'm almost home finally. Very interested in Bowen's next match and to see Dave Chafee at AWE. Absolutely, yes. Well, we've got 2 Bowens on the card this coming up, haven't we?
We do. We've got the Axeman, Bowen Contrado,
yes,
and who performed very, very well recently at the Queensland State Championships.
Yes,
and of course our very own Ryan Blue Bowen, who we up against Mazahir Saidu.
That's right, absolutely, yes, for sure, and can't wait to see both Bowens going at it. It does create some confusion because people are like, "Oh, did you see Bowen get that win? Which Bowen are you?"
Wow.
Well, I didn't know he was playing. That's it. Kyle Davison says, "Wow, your set looks fantastic." Well,
thank you, Kyle.
Thank you to Kyle Davison, whoever he is. For doing such a tremendous job of helping us get everything set up today. We are still probably with bloody cameras, but we are all good for the moment.
Yeah, how good does the lighting look?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if anyone's wondering what that picture is behind Dave, that is an ancestral Knights of the Realm painting. And yes, you can slot yourself right into the position there. There you go. The story of how that happened has been told several times. But yes, it is a fantastic feature of the AWE set at the moment.
Indeed. I've got a feeling it might be one of those items that gets auctioned off at some point in time.
I think that would be an amazing present to get.
Yeah. Well, maybe Drew 24 might get a bigger box next time. You never know.
That's right. It could be. Or I think it's a Drew 22, isn't it? There's a Drew 22, 24.
24.
The Drew. Everyone knows who we're talking about.
Yeah,
the Drew. It could be 24.
Yeah,
right,
pretty sure. Yeah.
Levan's
24 because he's 24 hours a day.
That's right. Yeah, nice one. That's a good point. Yeah, it could be. Levan Sagashabili's liver says, I can do about 30 pull-ups at 127 kilos today.
Wow. That's just the liver without arms.
That's right. He is only lifting the liver.
Impressive.
Yeah,
it's very
I didn't
impressive.
know livers had arms, but that's very impressive.
Yeah,
well
even more so.
Even more.
Yeah,
absolutely. Josh Barker, he has replied, I chin up 16 reps with 30 kilos of added weight. Wow, that's incredible.
And what about completely with that? Yeah. What about that?
And don't send us the video.
So 16 weighted. How many? Do you even bother trying to do them without weights, Josh? Is that just
you got to say without clothes?
And can you do the one arm? Can you? Yes. Can you do the one arm pull up?
Anyone can anybody do the one arm pull up?
Yeah.
Lachlan Carpenter is stepped in and said that he can do 30 reps at 126 kilos of body weight.
That's very, very impressive.
Absolutely, that's incredible.
Okay, it was Steve Maxwell would say that 20 reps is the benchmark for high percentile strength. So there's a very small percentage of the world's population can do 20 body weight pull-ups. So Lachlan Carpenter.
Yeah, absolutely, that's incredible. I'm trying to think how many I can get. I know I can get 10 proper dead hang at the bottom
all the way up.
Yeah, but that's a struggle.
yeah. I don't know if Lachlan's were completely that. I think they were kind of to about this position thereabouts, but they're pretty rapid fire.
Yeah, and especially at that body weight, it's crazy.
It's insane.
We've got Lazy Hook who's jumped in. He says, "Sup peeps." Hello to you too, sir. Lazy Hook, are you from the United States? We haven't seen you on the show before, but
very happy to see you, though.
Absolutely. And Kat Concordis says it's going to be a great one. And Kat is obviously the inventor, the creator, the distributor, the co-pilot, the co-wearer of clothes. It is of Roll Clean soap and a fantastic sponsor of the AWE podcast, the Grapplers soap. So designed for preventing people who do a lot of combat sports where they're, if you're doing jiu-jitsu or if you're doing MMA and you're constantly sweating on each other and sweating all over the mats and rolling on that, it's the perfect soap for afterwards to prevent you from getting a staph infection. So
indeed, and there's no detergents or natural ingredients. It's great stuff. Really, really good stuff. I've stopped using, shampoo, but I've stopped using any shampoos or anything else in my beard apart from the Roll Clean soaps. So
I also have stopped using shampoo in your beard as well.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. It's probably one of the reasons why
it could be.
No shampoo in my beard.
Couch Apple says, Matt, as you mentioned about one arm pull up, from that strength, which style have you transferred to the arm wrestling table? Is it back pressure, bicep hook? In my routine, I don't do a lot of back since I started doing arm wrestling.
You don't do back?
Not much, because
Okay.
usually my forearms and my biceps are absolutely destroyed from the training sessions that we have on Sunday night. I do throw it in every now and then. I threw it in this week, but I would say that movement is very much that drag, that lat drag, that you're pulling your opponent across the table. So yeah, in terms of style, I would say that's where you're getting your fundamental movement, is in that initial being able to pull your opponent across the table and separating them from their shoulder. So if I do it on the side, so if everyone's starting in that position and they get pulled out away from their power. So anytime that your hand comes away from your shoulder, if you're in a top roll or hook position, you are in a weaker position because you've got less access to your body weight.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. And the Schmo says, no video, no proof. Well, I think there is a video, so he does have the proof. So if you have a look at Lachlan Carpenter on Instagram, you'll probably find it.
Yeah, 100%.
And we've got Luca, who's in here, and Dave, how do you say Luca's last name again?
Oh, sorry, mate, my eyesight doesn't work.
Oh, that's all right.
I quite see from
Let
here.
me bring it up nice and big for you.
All right, there we go. This is good. Pagliacci. That's what I'm going with anyway, Lucas. So if that's not right, certainly corrected right in the phonetic sense. That'll be wonderful. But yeah, so with the AWE 3 on the horizon, we're now just a matter of 8 weeks to go this weekend. So we've got the AWE website, so awearmwrestling.com. That's going to be live very, very soon. So I know we've spoken about this on a few occasions on the podcast, but we've been tinkering in the background, mainly because we're going to have a very special announcement with respect to the pay-per-view and ticket sales very, very soon. And so the final reworking of the website is all around the value offering that we're throwing in there. So so definitely stay tuned to that. And really interesting. Lots of visits to the website already, even though it's not been active and people haven't been able to do anything with it really, but lots of people from India. So shout out to our friends in India that are tuning into the podcast and that have been following us on Instagram, and of course enjoying all of the shared posts with our athletes that are coming over. India's finest making their way over here. So yeah, thank you very much, India and the United States, and I think Australia was a distant third actually amongst all of that. So
and Egypt even.
Egypt worked its way into the top 5. So shout out to all the Egyptian fans of arm wrestling that are out there. So it's wonderful to see so many people from all around the world tuning into the AWE experience every week. And of course, when it comes to our events, paying attention to what's going on with our athletes, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so stick around as well, because Ryan Bluebone will be joining us in about 15-20 minutes. I believe he's on his way. He sent the message to say he will be in, but looking forward to seeing his thoughts on how it's going with AWE 3 and his thoughts on facing Mazahir Saidu in the main event of AWE 3 here in Adelaide in October the 22nd. We've also got a tournament running on the same day that anybody can enter, with the grand prize being part of the AWE pay-per-view event as the very first matchup. So, and Lachlan Carpenter has asked a question about that. He says, who do you think has the best chance to win the tournament apart from Mario?
Well, it's all very open. We just don't know. I mean, this is completely open to the public, so it's going to be a real surprise to us. I mean, we don't know whether Brett Coots will turn up. We don't know. Who knows? I believe he's recovering from a pec tear, but that shouldn't stop Brett Coots.
No.
So we've got and there's so many emerging athletes from around the country, and given the global audience, we're just not sure who's watching this now, jumping online and booking a ticket to make their way over here to walk away with the main prize, which in part is of course going to be being on the main AWE pay-per-view card.
That's right.
So the competition will kick off at about 9 o'clock and travel through the morning, and we'll be bringing that to you, so you'll be able to see exactly the journey of those athletes as they make their way through the tournament.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be exciting, and just a little bit of extra value for people out there as well. They'll be able to tune into the YouTube channel and see all of that. And then, of course, we'll switch over for the pay-per-view for the main card, and some spectacular matchups on that card. And then straight afterwards, we've got Last Man Standing.
That's right.
So Last Man Standing is really exciting. It's and for those people that are in the cricketing world, it's like the 2020 cricket of arm wrestling. It's fast paced. It's ready to go. There's more matches in an hour than you'll ever see in any other arm wrestling format. So we're super excited to be able to. We had a bit of a practice run with this particular format back in October, just to see if it would work, and we can report. Like it's fantastic fun. It's great from the athlete's perspective. I was one of the participants in the. I didn't do very well, but I was one of the participants. I made up the numbers, and I was just one of those people that last got to beat. And so, but it was great fun from the athlete's perspective. And we had a few highly fancied athletes on the day that we thought might be walking away with $1,000. Fall by the wayside very early on. So it really became an event of attrition.
Yes.
So almost like an ultra marathon. So there's the thing, you've got supreme endurance that's required to perform at a high level over that hour or so, and then but it's so fast paced from the spectator's perspective that it's that hour just flies by. I mean, you were commentating and obviously timekeeping and wearing a few hats. How was it for you?
It was great. It was fantastic. 191 matches we had in 1 hour, which is more than 3 a minute.
Won't see that on East versus West, I can tell you. So
that's right. So
probably get 2 fouls in that same period of time. So
you still got 12 hours to go.
So you're really cool format.
It was amazing. Yeah. Well, sitting here, it was in this room. Like I was sitting pretty much where you were sitting right here. We had Jake Ward, the Aussie arm wrestler, doing the commentary with us. And it was just match after match. It was just constant. And, it was hilarious and it was funny because people were running around in the circle to get back for their turn again. As you said, we had Hamza Hodji who pulled out, I think, at the 18-minute mark, which was a surprise because, he was highly touted as one of the guys that might be challenging for both the longest time in king position and sitting in the king position at the hour mark.
Very end,
I think
so. That's important to realize. Like, there's 2 prizes associated with this. So, man that's on the table the most amount of time, and the person that just happens to be on the table right at the end. And they could be 2 different people, of course. And I guess that's one of the reasons why an athlete who, like myself, for instance, I knew I wasn't going to be the person that had the most time on the table, but I just might be that one at the end.
That's right.
So that kind of kept me going as an athlete. So it was, and I guess from a spectator's perspective, that's one of those things that keeps you going for the whole hour, wanting to find out who is going to be that, who is going to walk away with
exactly. Especially in those last 10 minutes, it was mayhem. It was pandemonium of people sprinting around trying to get back. And Lass was holding on, and then I think he dropped it to Tim for a couple of minutes, and then he managed to get it back. And then it was like in the last minute, it was Tim and Lass, and I think Tim fouled or he did something that it was like that was kind of like, well, it's between these 2 guys here, because Lass is going to give it all in this last match. But it was crazy exciting, and had that countdown happening, and the fact that every time it slipped, we'd pause the timer, so there was no advantage gained for anybody trying to sneakily I slipped again. Gee, I have to stand here for 5 minutes while they apply the strap.
There's really no way that the athlete can scam the system.
That's right.
And get a perceivable advantage.
Right. Yes.
In this situation, is there?
No,
really.
That's right.
So they're really forced through the mincer, the arm wrestling mincer, to see whether or not they come out the other side in one piece.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. The only thing people would be able to do is not try. And if they're spending this first sort of 40 minutes deliberately losing, if somebody isn't trying, it's very obvious, and I'm just going to kick them out of the event straight away. But
if they're not trying, they're not winning. Obviously, the one of the main prizes, and they're betting that they'll be there at the end. But
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
don't know.
That's right.
Good
And
luck with that.
yeah, well, that's
It's
it,
an
because
interesting
you
strategy.
might not try the whole way through, and then when it gets to that last 2 minutes, there's 20 people ahead of you, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I didn't try, and I got beaten 100 times.
Yeah.
And now I'm not going to get my shot, even though I'm 100% fresh.
Yeah.
I'm ready to win. It's like there's 20 people ahead of you. You're not going to get your shot. So
when you get the website details, when we release them very, very soon, you'll be able to work out how you can register for both of those events, and make sure that you've got your name down for the tournament, and that if you and look, you'll be able to enter the tournament and last man standing. So if you're just an average Joe lover of arm wrestling that likes to jump on the tables with your mates at the club, you might not feel you're at elite level, but you want to be part of the AWE family. Well, you can certainly do that. And there's 2 great opportunities for you to do it in the tournament. And you can also enter both events. So you go into the tournament, go into last man standing, and you might end up in all 3 events in the end. You might be last man standing, you might be in the tournament, and you might even find yourself on the pay-per-view card. So
Mario, if you're listening.
So we're looking forward to arm wrestling fans coming from all around the world to be a big part of that. And of course, it is quite the international event already.
Yeah.
We've got, of course, our Indian friends making their way over. So we've got 3 Indian internationals making their way over for the event. We've got the Tahitian Wrecking Ball, Marcus Atirai, of course, with a real battle of the islanders with Mataringi Hedamaris. So the biggest matchup of 2023. Over 750 pounds of gigantic human being on either side of the table. So we've got
whoever the referee, if it is Tim Graham, he's going to look like a tiny little man compared to these guys.
And he's 6 to 100 kilos. So nobody look like a little boy.
He would be literally almost half their size.
So we got New Zealand versus Tahiti in that matchup. Of course, we got South Africa versus Australia with Bowen Contrado, the Axeman, up against young Richard Bowman. Who's building quite the following. He's a very popular young man, Richard Bowman. So we've got many international.
Sivajith, I think is how you say.
And Josh Barker.
And Josh Barker.
Yeah.
Yes. And Yuvraj.
Battle of the 70-kilo champions from either side of the pond.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah, originally was going to be Raul Panica, but Siva, I believe I pronounced his name right. Sivajith. It's probably completely wrong, but that's how it's written.
Yep.
He was the one that
certainly let us know if you're a fan of the young man. We'll happily correct that. Yep.
That's right, absolutely. And Raul Panico did get injured pulling against Sivajit.
So to be the man, you got to beat the man, and he beat the man. He's now the new 70-kilo king of India, and that's earned him a ticket to Australia to test his mettle against Australia's best 70-kilo forearm.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got a junior standout from Yuvraj. It's not Sharma, but I'm getting his last name. But Yuvraj, yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll look it up after. But he's going to be taking on Hamza Hodzic, who is the AWE junior champion. And from all reports, Yuvraj is a top contender over
He's a big boy. Yeah. He's a big boy. He's not that far off from Mazahir. Like, he looks like a strapping young lad. Must be over 105 kilograms. And so Hamza's about 85-ish thereabouts. By competition day, maybe 102. It's growing by the day. So that's a really interesting junior matchup as well. And that's for the AWE junior belt.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, that belt is highly touted. Hamza has proved himself on multiple occasions now, taking out Jamie Barrett, who will be featuring on the card as well. And he'll be taking on, so it'll be Jamie Barrett and SK, who is a Korean arm wrestler, but I believe he's based in Brisbane at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, I believe Hamza challenged the Canadian champion, and the Canadian junior champ, didn't want any part of it. It wasn't feeling quite ready.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Hamza looking strong, intimidating people from around the world at this point in time.
So this is increasingly looking like a world-class belt. You know, when national champions from around the world don't want to compete against you, it's probably a good reason for that. Yeah. So Hamza's really, impressed a lot of people around the world.
Absolutely, yeah. I was his matchup against Jamie Barrett was a real question mark for me, because I hadn't ever been on the table with Jamie, but I had seen him go through the US and do very, very well, and he'd beaten a former world champion and got pins on him several times, and he was doing big things in the arm wrestling world. But I knew how strong Hamza was, and he kept getting stronger by the week. And I was like, this to me, I don't know. It's such an unknown quantity.
And of course, Ryan's chirping in
yeah.
your ear and how great Jamie is and how he's the future of arm wrestling.
That's
and
right.
there's no one in Australia at junior level that can touch him. And oh, no way. Hamza really doesn't have a chance. And then, well, we saw what Hamza produced at AWE one.
Yeah.
And then almost exactly the same conversation started to come up with Ethan Tunstall.
Right.
He's a magnificent young man, great young guy. Came over AWE2 to challenge Hamza, and that was very, very one-sided as well. It went the same way. So it seems like there's a real gap between first and the rest when it comes to junior talent here in Australia. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Hamza goes against international competition.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. And we've got the screen is quite small for us, but it's a Fresgen, Frezem. Freezy M.
Freezy M?
Freeze M.
Phrase M.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
He says that Vazgen Soygan was the champ that Jamie beat over in America. So, he's doing amazing things. He will be featuring on this card, and he'll be going against an amazing puller from Brisbane in SK. So that should be very exciting. Who did quite well.
By way of South Korea, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, he also featured heavily in the Queensland titles. So, yeah.
So what do you make of these rumors out there that WAF are leaning on certain athletes to not participate on cards where maybe banned athletes are appearing?
That's right.
So that seems and under the guise of perhaps protecting that athlete to the degree that, or suggesting to that athlete, well, if you're not in good standing with WAF, then you won't be able to compete on East versus West. So what do you make of that?
It's interesting, isn't it? I believe it's the knuckles up or the high five, the event that might be going on this weekend.
Yes, it is in 3 days' time.
Right. Yeah. So they had a couple of their athletes that had to pull out because of that reason, where they were basically told, look, if you go and compete in this event, you won't be competing in our events again. Which is disappointing to hear, especially when the reason given is pretty flimsy. It's like, there may be some banned athletes, athletes who have tested positive in WAF competitions competing on that card, so we don't want you to compete on that. It's like,
and if you do compete on that card, well, that means you're not in good standing with it. You're not following our instructions and being a good athlete, which means no East versus West opportunities for you.
That's correct. Yeah,
so that seems like collusion from an outsider's perspective.
It could.
Yeah. So it seems very interesting. But we also heard some rumblings as well that this was also one of the tactics used to shy some athletes away from AWE, from competing in AWE. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, that is, you got correct.
Or are they rumors? They're correct rumors.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But the good thing is, from our perspective, is that we are in charge of the organization that we're running, and we don't have to follow anybody else's direction or rule. We can do the things that we want and put the athletes that we want to put on our event.
Yeah, and it's really, I guess, disarming from an athlete's perspective, where they might have the eye on a certain prize. Maybe they do want to be a WAF world champion, and maybe they do want to also appear on East versus West, for instance. And so I guess for those athletes, I wonder if there's a preference for those athletes that conform, that they won't be tested at all.
On East versus West,
or on anything. Yeah. Maybe it's a bit of a sweetheart deal, because you would imagine that some of these athletes might show up some level of, I don't know, substance.
Vitamin S.
Vitamin S. Wheaton. Sometimes you can just breathe it in. Yeah. So
it's Alistair Overeem.
Yes.
So I haven't eaten him.
Just when you breathe in a contaminated horse.
It was some contaminated horse meat.
When you breathe that in, you can have
40 instead of 1 to 6. 6 being extreme, he was at 40. Completely natural.
That Mongolian horse.
It's that horse.
You got to watch out. It
is tainted.
That's why all those Central Asian countries, well, they have so much difficulty.
Yes.
Yeah, with
so many positive tests from horse meat.
That's right. It's such a shame. But it's interesting that an organising body or a governing body of a sport be used to I don't know, be a wedge, or to perhaps pursue the agenda of a particular promotion over and above other promotions. I mean, it's fair to say that, you know, we do have 2 athletes that have tested positive on our card, and
one refused the test.
One refused the test, yeah, and one was banned for refusing. So one was banned for refusing the test, and the other one tested positive. And from our perspective, it wasn't a big deal, and especially, you know, for those that are in the world of arm wrestling, you understand the landscape, and I'll be guessing that you know, East versus West and other promotions, there would be more than a couple of the athletes that might
surely not
test positive to.
No.
Well, there's a lot of contaminated horse meat.
There is.
So
maybe they accidentally ingested it.
Yeah, a lot
could
of yes, yes. You got to watch out for horse meat and pancakes. They're the 2 things you got to be really
Platters of meat.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you got to be careful, and but it does seem that East versus essentially it seems to me, and I could be completely wrong because all of these are rumors, of course, is that it seems to me that the athletes being told, you won't be tested in East versus West, but if you compete in an event with an individual who has tested positive, we will ensure that you don't appear on these other promotions. Perhaps
doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
It doesn't. It seems very convoluted. It seems like I say, almost collusion. Almost collusion. One would suspect, if all of these rumors were true, of course, then you definitely suggest that there's some level of collusion. So so it seems to me that since AWE 2, there's been a few strange things happen, and almost unprecedented actions in the world of arm wrestling. AWE 2 concludes. Engens on the snowmobile at the airport, picking up Todd Hutchings, talking him into a contract on the way home. On the way home, Todd Hutchings steps off the plane. Engens there with the snowmobile. You fixed the snowmobile. This is what I was doing when you were in Australia.
Get on.
I fixed it for you. Oh, great. So anyway,
snowmobile. How's that for service?
I do this for all of the athletes, and then off home.
They all get the snowmobile treatment.
signed up to a contract, and no longer able to compete in AWE 3 and defend his title. And then since then, we've seen the exclusive contracts roll out. That whole controversy make its way through the arm wrestling world, and now we're getting these WAF enforcer type tactics being engaged. Seemingly in an effort to really kind of squeeze a few of these emerging events. So High Five on this weekend would have looked very, very different if perhaps those conversations hadn't taken place.
It's disappointing because it really looks like they've put in a lot of effort. Those guys, Knuckles Up, High Five, that they've gone to their best. They've put their best effort forwards to get the best people that they possibly could. They've promoted the event fantastically. They're speaking really well to camera. They're presenting. The marketing is fantastic.
Yep.
Really looking forward to seeing the athletes compete on their card. And then all of a sudden, we've lost 3 or 4 athletes in the last week leading up to it because of this. We might have some banned athlete on our card, and that means that you're not allowed to be on our card. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And I think you think if Devin Larrett had tested positive, that he wouldn't be allowed back on East versus West.
I wonder, and I guess here's the challenge to our friends at WAF and to East versus West. Let's get it all out in the open and just let's test all the athletes. Let's make the investment. If we're making the investment in the contracts and we're true to our word and we want to make the sport better and more commercially friendly, sponsor friendly, kid friendly, if that's what we want to do, if that's the path we want to go down, you've got all the money now. It is time to test these athletes, bring it all out into the open.
Apparently Ryan was waiting for a while. I couldn't see you. We've got the screen. This half is not showing, but welcome to the show, Mr. Blue Bowl.
I've been in the backstage for about 10 minutes. I even went into the bathroom. I thought they're not going to let me in. I just got back from going to the loo.
Well.
Very good.
Oh, good, good. We can get your thoughts on this topic now. What do you think about this banning athletes from
Oh.
competing on an event if there's another athlete that tested positive? Not even the person who tested positive, but if there's another one.
By association, yeah. The only instance that I've ever seen of that is through the WAF. The WAF, I think the history of that is the disagreement they had with PAL and mainly Igor Mazarenko, who, interestingly, is looking at resurfacing. It would seem, but the history of that, as far as I'm aware, was that they were at loggerheads with each other over who knows what. And WAF's power play was to ban anybody who associated themselves with the PAL or any of their events. So, if you went I have been, I've personally been, I served a 12-month WAF ban because I competed at the Zloty in 2019.
Wow.
I have, and everyone who competed there was the same. Everyone who competed in IFA is the same. All get put on the not in good standing within the WAF. During the last few years, it all became kind of not really relevant because arm wrestling evolved in the sense, I guess, due to the travel restrictions and all that sort of stuff, and super matches became much more prominent within the sport. But with looking back at tournaments the way they were, and WAF has always been a pretty prestigious title to achieve, particularly for the Eastern European crowd. The Western arm wrestlers of the world haven't typically been interested in going to WAF. I know John Brzezinski only went to WAF because they paid him to go there, and he went there once and he won it and was like, oh. And he, in his words, he described it as the amateur world championships. And I think Devon went there the same year. I'm not sure if he was paid, but he went because John was going. He finished, I think, second to John. Maybe third. I think Ron Barth might have been there as well. But a little crowd went from the North American side. Not sure what year. But anyway, the point of all that is the politics of WAF has been to ban by association. I do remember when PAL was at its height, and Denis Saplenkov was one of the guys that was their poster athletes. I remember seeing the WAF saying, if you even get a photo with Denis Saplenkov, you're going to be in good standing. So they've pressured a lot of people, and I think I don't know the details, so I can't speak with any authority, but I've seen many conversations of people talking about corruption. I know the Bulgarian team have been quite vocal about the corruption of WAF in respect to their involvement, and I think a lot of governments pay.
You're not doing well if you upset the Bulgarians over corruptions. Yeah.
I think a lot of governments for Eastern European arm wrestling nations, they contribute to the sport, and one of the forms that they contribute is formal coaching. And so, if you are a coach of an athlete, you get paid a certain amount of fees or something. So, I think there was a lot of corruption in certain people within the WAF declaring that they were coaches of a whole bunch of people, and these people are, hang on, when
700
you know, my coach, I've never even met you in my life, and they're collecting the coaching fees and all that sort of stuff, and not passing anything on to the athlete like they're meant to, and so there's no shortage of corruption. So yeah, where it leads us now, arm wrestling's at a great time in the last few years. We've had more matches than we've ever been treated to before, so we can't deny that. But there is that underlying lurking sort of threat. I believe East vs West is affiliated with WAF by extension. I think mainly because of Engin Terzi's role within Turkey. I'm not sure if he was or still is. I think he might have been the head coach, as in seen by WAF as the head coach of the Turkish team, which makes sense. But I know that when for instance, the very first time I was involved in East vs West, because I'd previously been under a WAF ban, which had expired, I had to sign a declaration saying that I wasn't going to participate in a PAL event, and I wasn't permitted to pull at East vs West unless I did that. And I'm pretty sure everyone that was on the card was presented with that. So there was the Prudniks of the world, the Todd Hutchins of the world, all these sorts of people were signing these declarations saying, yeah, right, I'm not going to pull PAL. And the threat was, if you do, you'll get a life ban
Jeez.
from WAF. So if you pull anything that the WAF doesn't like 2 times, well, I've done it once with Zloty. If I do it again, I'll get a WAF life ban. So
Oh no.
Yeah, and so it seems arbitrarily applied, but it does seem to be some level of collusion there, where the governing body of the sport is leaning on an athlete and dangling the carrot that if you conform, then that won't inhibit your chances or your opportunities at a certain promotion. In this case, the East versus West.
They're strong up, aren't they? I mean, it's forcing people to choose. Hey, it's not compulsory, this vaccine, but you can't go to work. That kind of thing. You know, we've been through it all. It's the same thing here. You can choose to go anywhere you want, but if you do, well, there's consequences. So
yeah, we're seeing that with Knuckles Up now, and they're having their athletes that they've paid for, that they had booked, that they'd promoted, that were ready to go, they'd trained, and everyone was looking forward to seeing them. Other people, audience maybe have booked flights to go there to meet these people.
The promoters
spent money, exactly. Then whether or not they
you got to feel sorry for people like Gabriela Vasconcelos, who's a 33-time, 34-time, whatever it is, world champion under WAF. So her legacy is built on the back of WAF, and was all built before the corruption arrived. She won, I think, 30 of those 33 world titles or something before any of this corruption surfaced, and so she risks losing all of that if she just steps onto the stage somewhere else, and she's not the only one. We're everyone,
so she's
but
really beholden to WAF in that respect, and so there's no. Yeah,
so they've got her, and they know that they've got her, and they use that against her and against anyone. So like for me, I jumped off the WAF ship really quickly when I saw that corruption surface 3 or 4 years ago. I laughed at it. I thought, you're kidding me. I just didn't care. I feel like I've always personally been in a position where I'm able to not care about bans because I've built my own story, and I can continue my own story regardless of what promotions exist in the world. So I think I'm fortunate but I do feel sorry for anyone who's genuinely like, well, I can't go and compete because I'm going to get banned, or in any situation like that, because arm wrestlers just want to compete. They just want to be able to compete anywhere they feel like competing. And that's the way it should be. I mean, I get that promoters and all that have budgets and all that, but there's better ways to do it than trying to strong arm athletes into a certain section of the world. And like I said, it's been an interesting time the last couple of years because the WAF has been quiet during the COVID period. East vs West has been the most successful during that period, and now we're starting to see it come out the other side. It's starting to be a little bit more evident that there is a relationship between those two organizations, and how that affects the world is interesting because I don't know all the contracts that these people are signing at the moment. Is WAF is permitting them, or WAF is like WAF's obviously happy that East vs West has achieved what they have. I think that they want to. It would be my suspicion that they want to maximize that to defeat to defeat any other organization. Like we said, we've heard that Igor's coming back. We saw him on Aussie Arm Wrestlers podcast the other week, and he said a year and a half till he's back at production level. So that's not far away in the grand scheme of things. And there's always rumblings of WAL as well, but it looks like WAF may use East vs West to try and grab all of the cards as much as they can, and we'll see where they all fall.
So WAF are firmly putting their eggs in the East versus West basket, is what you're suggesting here.
Yeah, that'd be my inclination. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not privy by any stretch to the details, but I am definitely aware that there is a link between the two.
So Igor Mazarenko is coming from the PAL side of things. Is that where he stands?
Yes, yeah, he's the owner of the PAL.
Oh, fantastic! So they're running a Slotty tour, or they were. What other were they?
Well, I think that the PAL, in my opinion, is historically the most successful arm wrestling organization there's ever been. I say that because they ran the Nemiroff Cup which is all of those famous clips you ever think of John Brzenk beating Saplenkov and things like that. They ran that, and it turned into the Zloty tour when the sponsor changed. But that's the longest standing professional standard of arm wrestling that there's ever been. The best arm wrestlers in the world always gravitated there. They put on, I've only been there once, and it was phenomenal. I couldn't believe how good the staging and lighting and production was. It was very, very impressive. And it's where the best truly did compete. It's where John competed. It's where Denis Saplenkov competed. It's where Andrei Pushkar competed. It's where the genuine best in the world competed. I think there used to be there was once a harmonious relationship between the Nemiroff and WAF. It was something that there was obviously a fallout. I don't know what the fallout was, but there was a very sudden change where they were no longer collectively lifting the sport to all of a sudden they were arch enemies.
So we know that you're fluent in Russian, and so you might have picked up a few things in that interview with Jake Ward recently and Igor. So when you saw that, what was your impression? Do you feel it seemed to me that Igor was looking to come back with a high frequency of events? It looks like maybe a tournament structure underlying a larger event schedule.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. He made mention of Matt's favorite subject, the UFC.
So I didn't bring it up.
There we go.
the swear jar for every time.
I'm gonna put one in. But he talked about the UFC doing weekly shows, and he expressed that he wants arm wrestling to be something similar. When I imagine that in my head, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know how you come up with enough content to punch out something weekly. But look, the one thing one impression that I had of Igor and Anna Mazarenko when I met them both in Poland in 2019 is that they're very capable people in a business sense. They had 55 staff at that event, just to give you some perspective. So 55 staff in their production team and lighting and everything. I was like, whoa, that's very impressive. And if you poked your head behind the curtain, you saw all these people working. And so they are good business people. They ran. I don't know whether they ran. I say they ran it at a profit. Just to me, the evidence is that how long they did it for. I can't imagine they do it for that long if they're not running at a profit. I think they had good relationships with corporate sponsors. They always had big tables at the front, big 10-person round tables that were the high-paying sponsors that were always full, and they were getting the table service and drinks and food all night and all sorts of stuff, and everyone else was up in the bleachers watching. But it was amazing. It was where we saw the emergence of Levan Saakashvili and all that sort of stuff. So I think that they're very good business-minded people. They're very capable. They're obviously entrenched in arm wrestling. They love arm wrestling. To think that they won't come back effectively would be, I think, a mistake. So they will. Even though I can't see in my mind exactly what their vision is. I think that it will be back, and it'll be back with significance when it does arrive.
I guess from their perspective, not only have they had COVID, but they haven't had the opportunity to recover from COVID because of the whole Ukraine conflict and how that's slowed the movement of people. And I would imagine that's putting on world-class events really difficult in his part of the world right now. So, 18 months, he's obviously had a bit of a word to Putin and has that 18 months time frame in mind. So maybe we'll see an end to the conflict in 18 months.
It's like, all right, we'll give it up. Igor needs to put his arm wrestling thing on. Everyone wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Come on, people, wrap it up.
Yeah, well, arm wrestling can solve everything.
Yeah.
So they say. So let's see if that happens. But yeah, I'm not sure if he's Ukrainian or Polish. I think he's Ukrainian, but now lives in Poland. I think I could be the other way around.
Okay.
Is this alluding to your match, your grand match with Engen on New Year's Eve in Las Vegas on top of a building?
No, Madison.
We all know that Destiny has a way of
one nickel
just
back.
making things happen regardless of people's will to prevent it. So I do think there will come a time where I'll stand across the table from Engin Terzi. I think it'll happen at some point.
Mm.
I'm not. I couldn't give you a prediction of when or where, but
Yeah.
Madison
Yeah.
Square Garden. We can give you a prediction.
Yeah.
It might not be true. We can do it.
Because our guess is this will be the biggest match ever in the history of arm wrestling.
It would be.
Does happen. So this is where we're getting the idea that Madison Square Park would be the natural location for such an event.
There we go. I'll take it.
That
Put
would be-
it on the long list of amazing conflicts that have happened there. Yeah, sure.
Well, Nickelback are very interested in in performing at the after party as well. So
big Ryan fans.
mm,
We said Ryan, and they said, yeah, we're in.
yeah,
Where do you want us?
yeah. So it's just so the arm wrestling world, of course, awaits with a bated breath for that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. We'll get one of the questions here. The Couch Apple has written a few, but this one was quite good. He says that, Ryan, if you want to give some suggestions for how to improve or change the WAF events and improve the whole concept, what would that be?
AWE probably.
Well, WAF's first and most obvious problem is their political line in the sand where they're banning people. That needs to drop. You need to stop banning people by association of anywhere else. You need to let people compete wherever on earth they want to compete. That's the first. Until that goes, WAF will never be respected by the full community. And I think whilst ever that remains in place, they are eroding the respect they have from even the people that do participate. They're watering down the competition, and they're damaging relationships all over the sport. So I think that's the obvious one. If we could assume that was gone and it was back to how it was prior, then the WAF had a very good product in that they had the most consistent, deepest tournament there was, where it had a good representation from every nation on earth. Each nation would send their top 2 people that have qualified via a national federation that is affiliated with WAF. They had the system. They're aiming for the Olympics. They're always been looking to tick every box required to become an Olympic sport. And in that respect, I think they're easily the most developed of all of the federations. And I think they're the only one that's really pursuing it. IFA obviously is the other one now, but I don't think they're anywhere near as developed as WAF in terms of ticking those boxes. So they have a good product. They have a good intent as an organization. They're like John Brzezinski described them as the amateur world championships, and amateur not in a derogatory sense, but amateur in the sense that it's not a commercial product. They don't put on a show. They don't entertain. They don't sell pay-per-views like that. And if you've ever been to WAF, you'll find that it is very boring to watch because there's 15 tables going at any one time. You don't even know where to look. And it's like, oh, okay. And you're missing matches. You don't know what's going on. And when I was there, I remember when the finals were on, you still didn't feel like to go and watch it. Like you might get one match, but it might end on elbow fouls. So it wasn't that interesting. You just heard about it later. So they have a good product. How to improve it? I mean, everything can be improved by better coverage in terms of telling the story of what their actual event is, and just being open and honest about it. And if they could get rid of that poison chalice of the political divide, they would do themselves a big favor, I think.
There you go. That's a very insightful response.
Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. And we've got
that's going to be the basis of one of Couch Apple's blogs.
That's
tomorrow.
Right. He's already typing.
Yeah,
he's halfway through
Ryan Bowen
600
mentioned
word post.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one here from it's Levan. Says in Pradeep's recent video featuring Devon and Pushkar, he ended the video with a photo of Pushkar's dead body in a ditch after the accident. Oh, that's horrible. He justified it by citing cultural differences. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it says I haven't seen the video. Wasn't aware of it. I'd say obviously that's an insensitive thing to do. I do remember when the tragedy happened. Like I said, Pushkar was on his way to a PAL event. It was he was going to be facing Denis Saplenkov.
It was Oleg's
right.
and Oleg's father, I believe.
Yeah, and the incident happened, and there was the images were on the internet. I remember seeing them, and I don't remember. I mean, if you didn't know it was Andre, you wouldn't recognize from the image, as far as I'm aware. So it's not to that degree of it being like, whoa, I can see a person that I know, and there's their dead body. But obviously, those in the know still know it, and so putting a photo up like that years later obviously is insensitive. It's gonna losing a father, a husband, or a friend, or whoever he was to people out there. It's not something that you want to have put back on your face. So I think that one I would class as a insensitive error. I'm sure Pradeep has probably realized that now. And
Yeah, might have been in context as well. I mean, he might have been giving a tribute to Pushkar. I haven't seen the video either, but yeah, you would hope that he wasn't doing it as
Let's give Pradeep the benefit of the doubt. He seems like a nice chap.
Yeah, there you go. Kyle Davison, the man I'm literally looking at right now, who's behind the camera. Says, put the world leaders on the table. Quick, show the AWE branded tables. That's right. We do have an AWE branded table, and it is ready to go. It's been the _equipment on Instagram.
I think this
the
was
makers of that.
This was with respect to sorting out the world's problems through
that's a good
wrestling.
idea.
So
like
regional conflicts, get both the political leaders on the table, and Trump versus Biden. Let's see what happens.
I don't think
there.
Biden will be able to get his arms onto the table.
Yeah. Could be one of those skinny guys with just a really good top roll, like
like
a Jordan Davis. You think, oh no, it should be right here, and then all of a sudden,
what?
I didn't see it coming.
Absolutely, a boxing match. Bowen versus Hengen. It's bigger than Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah.
Well, at least to the arm wrestling community, it is bigger. I don't think we'd sell more pay-per-view, but I think that if the arm wrestling community had to choose between watching Jake Paul and Nate Diaz or me versus Engen, they're all choosing me versus Engen.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, I'd do it. Let's go, Engen. Let's do it.
MMA, you do MMA.
I'll let him choose the discipline, whatever.
Okay. Oh, this is an open challenge. Maybe a multi-discipline challenge.
Sambo or something.
Yeah, I think we start off with the Sambo challenge, and then a MMA challenge, and an arm wrestling challenge, and maybe some of that Indian slap contest at the end. And then you have a point system, and then at the end,
that slap thing is hilarious. I saw that for the first time
each other on the chest.
Yeah,
really odd. I don't know how you won.
It was so weird. I was like, what are they doing? It was just one of those random, you're flicking through, and then it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Two guys just smack each other.
I think you'd have the height advantage, Ryan, with that as well. I think you'd be able to get a little bit more height on the slap.
Yeah.
And Engen would struggle. So I think even if you up a little bit behind after the first three, I think that's where you make up your points.
Absolutely. Have you ever seen the Indian wrist wrestling?
No.
One of the guys in the gym was showing me this last night. It was very interesting because we were talking about arm wrestling and all that. So he goes, I'm actually very, very good at Indian wrist wrestling. The idea is that the other person would they'd put their arm out, and then you would take my arm with both of your hands, right? And I get one movement to try to get both of your arms off.
Right.
So and they say go, and then I'd try to, and I get to use this hand. It's one movement.
Okay.
And he said, give it a go or whatever. And I couldn't move at all. And then he said, all right, now you hold on to me. And he just go straight out. So it was different. It was interesting.
So very interesting. Well, maybe a fifth discipline now.
Yeah. So, that's right.
And if that can't be decided, obviously pose off at the end.
Yes. Would your arms be bigger than Engen's, wouldn't they?
I would say so.
I think I'm a bigger human than Engen in most respects, but I mean he's got that. I mean, as an arm wrestler, he's all twisted up and his pronation's very solid. But I think I am bigger than him.
What about a snowmobile race at the end? It's the final discipline, so you can both go over the hill. This is fireworks.
Yeah,
Todd Hutchings could be there
with the flag. Finish line.
Josh Barker
waving you in.
Aussie. We've got the Drew who's jumped in. He says, I bet many of those who compete at WAF don't feel that they have a choice.
Yeah.
And
it does seem.
Dev Jordan's give a nice little bicep here. We'll give you a bicep pose just for that. Oh, look at that. Ryan Bowen's pose up there. That's definitely a bigger arm than Engen's, I believe.
Yeah.
And who have we got here saying I've got Workouts who says Engen is the dictator of arm wrestling in capitals. It's an aggressive message there from Workouts.
Yeah, and you're about to get blocked.
That's right.
Never get a chance.
That's
to leave
right.
a
You're
comment.
gone. You're out of WAF forever.
Yeah.
Your WAF days are gone.
Yeah, sorry.
Yummy says, any thoughts about a women's match at AWE? We would love to have as many top level athletes as we possibly could.
Well, this is Matt's best chance of securing a title as well.
That's
so
right. I've been pushing for it.
He's been rumoring. There's been a rumor of transitioning, and what'll make it happen, of course, is a women's belt on the line. So so we'll see.
We'll see. See how that goes. That's why I grew the beard.
Sorry, was that our serious response?
No, we'd love to. Our cards get full very quickly, and we can only feel we're sort of maxing out at 10 matches. And at this point in time, the athletes that we're putting on are the ones that we really we're excited to see. And that fills our card up really fast. So yes, we'll and if we get two girls that are very, very top level, and we really would excited to see them go against each other, for sure they would get an opportunity.
There was a comment or a message that was left to us via Instagram about a young Indian female athlete who's quite the superstar in the Pro Punja League, and who would have in Australia that would be at a level, and it's hard to actually know. So so there's that aspect of it as well. And we don't want to put on a one-sided match and have the poor Indian girl all the way over here, win 4-0 and flash pin whoever it is that she might be up against. So I guess women's arm wrestling is at that point now where you're not seeing the athletes against each other enough to kind of know where the level is and where the best matchups might be.
Yeah, because I think from the Gimpy Grippers is very top level. She's been doing very well over here in Australia, and she could be a fine representative, as is France McGee, who's just recently got into the sport, coming from a Brazilian jiu-jitsu background. She says she'll take me on. Well, very strong wrists.
I wanted to comment on the Couch Apples comment that you had up there about it being the most prestigious. I really disagree with that. I don't think it's the most prestigious. It's just been a consistent performer of a certain formula. As John Brzenk said, it was not the most difficult tournament to win in the world. That's just the truth of it. There have been many elites have come through the WAF system, and we're not denying that. There have been some of the best arm wrestlers that have ever graced the sport, be champions of WAF, but it's not the hardest to win. The hardest to win was always the Nemiroff. The hardest to win was always the Zlotiter before the political divide. It was only when the political divide came in that both tournaments were watered down. Still to this day, the WAF has, let's call it great depth. They'll definitely send a lot of depth. But take, for example, the Australian representatives that will go to WAF this year. Are they the most difficult arm wrestlers to defeat from Australia? No. Lachlan Adair will not be there. I will not be there. It's just not the case. So that is in many of the nations as well. The people that go to WAF aren't the best, and this ties back into the drug testing and all that sort of stuff as well. But the truth of it is, it's not the most prestigious and not the most difficult tournament in the world to win.
What was your feelings when you did go to the Zloty Tour, and how your matches went there?
The Zloty Tour, I loved it for what it appeared to be. It was fantastic, but it was watered down because of the political divide. Some of the people that would usually be there were not permitted to be there. So it was disappointing in that respect. But my impression of the Zloty Tour was amazing. It was incredibly exciting. I felt the history of the sport there, knowing that so many of the best matches, it was in the same auditorium that he's always done it in. And that even for me was exciting. It was like, wow, this is where all those famous videos that I've seen have happened and things like that. So I loved it. And I found, as an athlete from Australia, at least, I looked up to the Zloty Tour as the pinnacle of the sport for a tournament sense. It's where Alexei Vovoda arrived. It's where Travis Bajan did his thing. It's where Saplenkov arrived. It's where, like we said, the list, the true list of the all-time great. If you take the top 20 all-timers, that you don't go, wow, look, I remember their performance at WAF. You don't.
Yeah.
They might have come through WAF, but you don't. The one you remember is not the WAF. The one you remember is that yellow shirt.
So does the world need a WAF?
Yes, the world's need a WAF. The WAF provides a great
One that's not corrupt.
It's a non-corrupt WAF is fantastic. As per each national federation is needed as well. When someone is brand new to the sport, they need a place to grow. They need local tournaments that are well run, that have a system that they gives them a ladder that they can climb. You can't just jump into high level super matches, and you're not going to get anywhere in the sport that way. So we need national federations. We need a global federation to bridge you all up. But if you climb through your national federation, through the WAF, you know what you get to at the top of that? You get to, all right, I want to be considered a pro now. All right, I want to be in those yellow shirts now. All right, I want to be paid to be a badass now. All right, oh shit, my YouTube channel is growing now because all of a sudden I'm actually one of the best in the world. Okay, the top of the WAF rung doesn't make you that guy. It makes you ready to become. It puts you in a position where you can fight to become that guy. But to become that guy that is considered, wow, you're the man. You got to go a lot higher than WAF.
So is the WAF the World Health Organization of sporting organization? Is that the equivalent? You think they should know what they're doing? You think they shouldn't be corrupt, and you think they'd be, doing the right thing for everybody? But
does that make Engen Terzi does that make Engen Terzi the Klaus Schwab or what?
Not sure. But I guess we'll find out on New Year's Eve at Madison Square Gardens
with Nickelback and Michael Jackson.
Nickelback and the Michael Jackson Experience.
Right, it is an experience.
Afterwards. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a laser show, but it's all Michael Jackson doing moves. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
To his own songs.
Oh, to his own songs. It's weird. I thought he would have done it to Nickelback.
Well, I mean, we could always talk to the boys and see how they feel about it.
They might. They might be into it. Ginger Rage Arm Wrestling says, Ryan, did you grip up? Did you grip up with Kyle when you were in the UK?
I didn't get a chance to grip Kyle. I think he's talking about Kyle Hutchinson.
I think
who's definitely like he's if he's not number one in the UK, like he is some days. He isn't the other day. I know that he'd been the top guy in the UK for a while, but then he actually took a loss to the man I beat, Bogdan Stojka, just about a month before. I think Bogdan beat him 3-2. So I didn't get the chance. I would love to. He looks like a powerhouse. He looks like one of those guys that are just kind of built like Lachlan Adair, just massive.
How do you think you go with James Wall?
Well, I already beat him on left 4-3. Best, probably the best match I've ever pulled for the excitement of a match. Me and James Wall at Arm Wars. It's a match that when I'm on my deathbed and I got a great grandchild and he says, "Hey, granddad, what was your favorite arm wrestle you ever arm wrestled?" That's probably the one I'm going to put up there because it was such a friggin' amazing match. I loved every bit of it against James Wall. I think James Wall's a stud. I really like the dude. I would happily pull him again, and I think it'd be a firecracker.
Is that the one that we watched when I was up in Brisbane and you were like, you got to check this match out? I believe
maybe, probably. If I'm going to show
when you go to Ryan's place, he's got it all ready to go, all queued up.
Yeah,
on the telly, and you just happen to walk inside. And say, hey, before we do
just let me put this on.
What's on the TV? Sit down. Sit down. No, sit down. That's amazing. We've got Paul Maynard's jumped in.
Paul Maynard's jumped in with $50,000 for the. Oh no, sorry, not for the rematch. No.
That's right, for the rematch. Yeah, that's right. He says Meba Steady Woman. He's also said put her against Bollywood Matt. He's about as strong as he's about as strong as a second cup of tea while using the same tea bag. Thank you very much, Paul.
It's not being insulted by your nana. That one wasn't it?
It was fine for a more classy route for Paul there.
Paul went the high road.
That's why I had to read it 3 times. Like, this can't be right. This is somebody else using his account. This is Marcus Thompson.
The only time he's that polite is when it's in poetry.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Marcus Thompson has jumped into the Arm Gods account and he's writing messages. I'm going to have to bring this big because it's so tiny on the screen here. And I move that there. So the Lavens, it's Lavens. It's Levan.
Levan.
Says Eagles' return is proof the contracts were a bad choice. Everyone was a
Ooh.
free agent and could pull freely. If he started contracts, people would argue against it.
Wow.
I fear Engen started a bidding war.
Or did Engen see this on the horizon? Maybe as well. Who knows? Maybe he's got a crystal ball.
Yeah.
So
Well,
maybe he's got the almanac.
Engen is probably aware of these. I mean, Eagle couldn't start up the PAL machine again without someone like Engen becoming aware of it before commercially it's known. So it wouldn't surprise me if Engen was fully aware that Eagle was making a comeback, and subsequently that may be the major reason why he initiated the contracts. The banning AWE and things like that, just probably little side missions for him. But yeah, Eagle coming back, our contract's bad. Yeah, that it's a dead horse. That one they're bad. Just accept it.
Just accept it and move on.
It.
All right. So
Bowen's bad arm wrestling says, "I will show the world."
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know what he's showing, but sure. France says, "I'll take Hollywood as long as I can use two arms." Aha. Well, you're very strong, France. You're doing well. I think you have potential to
You
go
don't need
very
two arms.
well.
You just need another 2 months training.
That's it. You probably, that's probably true, actually. Yummy says, if Ryan defeats Mazahir, would love to see him back in AWE versus Mario and some others. Would be good to have some regulars from India. Absolutely.
I mean, completely agree. Completely agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And Dominic Lawrence says, "Hey, Matt, are you guys still making the AWE tables for sale?" Absolutely. Yeah, you can contact.
And now $5,000 each.
Just for you. It's a special deal. Yeah, that's right. But you can get a customized table done. It doesn't have to be the AWE brand. But
it does not have to be.
Yeah, but Fab_equipment is who you want to speak to on Instagram. That is, he's a metal fabricator, and he has been on the podcast before. Dave Fairbane is his name, and you can look that episode up. He explains the whole process as to how he goes about making the table. And his latest modification is that with the the elbow pad, with the positioning of the holes that puts the pad into the table, he now has placed them in a position where it's still in the exact legal position for arm wrestling, but it now fits all the training apparatus that he's building as well. So you don't need you don't need anything extra. You can just take out the elbow pad and put in your pulley, and away you go. You don't need any extra equipment or anything like that.
It's like the wing keel of arm wrestling tables, isn't it? It's like there's the wing keel. That's that evolution.
Aussies invented that, didn't they?
Sorry,
Aussies invented the wing keel, didn't they?
Yeah, Australia too. It's what led to Australia winning the America's Cup in 1983. Was the engineering? It was the wing keel, the keel at the bottom with the little flat bit on the side.
The dolphin flange.
Yeah, the schnozzle. That is
schnozzle.
Yeah, A-grade schnozzle.
Well, Paul Maiden has said, "Has Lachlan been offered a contract, guys?" Well, that's for Lachlan's business and none of ours. So that's for him to answer and not for us to answer. But
given our non-answer, you can answer.
Who says, "I'll show you how bad I am."
Yeah, there it is. That one might be written on my headstone as I die or something, I think.
Carl Davison, the man I'm looking at right now, he says the link for Fab. Yeah, so it's Fab_equipment on Instagram. If you message them, you can get all the details on. It will become up. It is. You're just not typing it in right. You sent it first. Oh, before. Okay. That's what you're saying. I thought this.
The link, here it is.
I thought this. Stop, man. No, it's not working. No, that's fine. You can stop cowering now, Kyle. It's all right. Workout says Bowen.
I was actually thinking this today. Are you doing live commentary on the next East versus West event?
Honestly, no, I'm not. I'm not interested in doing it. I may wake up just to watch 1 or 2 matches, but I'm not interested. Not doing one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. When we have done it in the past, I mean, the events go for so long. By the time it got to the events, the matches we were looking forward to, we were so tired.
It's a marathon. It's not for the athletes, but for the viewers.
I just wanted it to be over. I think it was like 8 hours, and I'm not exaggerating. I think we'd started at 1 a.m. or something. It was like 9 a.m. The sun was up, the birds are cheering, people are going to like work, and it's like. Where they're like, and now it's Michael Todd. Who's he versing? I don't even know. I can't remember. I don't care.
Yeah, but no, there won't be a live commentary for me this time. I'm just over it, and if I'm honest about it, the reason I'm over it is I'm tired of the confrontation, of the conflict. I'm actually to the point where I'm just sick of watching stuff that makes me think down that line. So it's just a negative thing for me to sit there and watch it. I'm not that interested.
Will you do commentary for Knuckles Ups? Asked Luca.
No. I do like the lineup though, but I'm not planning on doing any live commentaries at the moment. Where my focus is. It's in two places. Become so good as an athlete that I could just knock the door down, and the world demands to see what level I'm at, and people will just not be able to avoid the inevitable matches that I'm going to have to get. So whether I'm invited to East vs West or not, it doesn't bother me. I'm becoming the best athlete I can. And the other side is to promote AWE. So if you want to see me commentate, tune into AWE.
So is that an exclusive contract that you have with AWE?
signed in blood, I think that one.
So for AWE3, obviously we've got the 3 events happening all on the same day. We've got the tournament very first up, and then we've got the AWE3 pay-per-view, and following that we've got Last Man Standing. We had a question earlier before you jumped in, and that was there any one that we should keep an eye out for leading their way through the tournament to potentially get on the AWE3 card?
There's a few studs. There's a few studs that, depending if they turn up, I think of people like Brazil's Pepe Panzetti. He's someone that can tear through a tournament.
Yeah,
he's been a podium place getter at the WAF multiple times. So keep an eye out for people like him. There's monsters like Brett Coots that if he turns up, he can bulldoze his way through a tournament. But there are studs everywhere now. There are people that may turn up from overseas as well. The Uzbekistans have been involved in a lot of tournaments lately. If they turn up, there's a few killers there.
Uzbekistan.
Yeah, well, Olimov, when he came over and he was tearing through people with that flash pin style, it was just immediate. By the time the referee had finished saying go, he'd already pinned his opponent.
He's a great tournament puller. He's so fast, and like he pinned me at that over the top, and I just kicked myself so much when it happened because I could feel my error, and I didn't know it was going to be that way until it was too late. He's someone that he's an example of a guy who I feel like I'd be very confident beating in a super match because I can feel it, I can adjust it, I can slow it down, I can make it a dogfight. But that dude's like a friggin' gun out of the barrel, and when you've never touched his hand before, he can pin you so quickly and just catch you off guard. He's a very impressive tournament puller.
I remember you were saying about that match that that you had gone for a hook, and then you felt that you really should have gone with your ace of the top roll. And in his setup, that he had that real no touch kind of light hand.
My error in that tournament was I didn't respect him enough. I was trying to win the whole tournament still, and I thought to myself, look, I'm in the B draw. I'll get through this B draw final by using my B game, because I'm saving my A game for beating because I would have had to then face the loser of Matai Warangi Hetamoris and Lachlan Adair. And I was hoping they were going to really beat each other up, and I was going to be able to just clean up scraps. And because I didn't respect Olimov enough, I deliberately chose my B game instead of my A game, and he buried it. I'm like, oh, you idiot! I should have just bloody top rolled properly.
Did you get on the after pool table with him?
I did after pool with him in a slow pool, like immediately after, and in a slow pool, yeah, I could get stops and it looked good. So Yeah, that's what I said. I think I beat him in a super match for sure, but he's a dangerous guy out of the blocks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we don't yet have tickets on sale on the website. So we're very, very close. And thank you to everybody for your patience and all those people that have been inquiring. But we can release some of the ticket prices. So so perhaps
Well, this is an
well.
exciting moment.
Ooh, I think, so we've got general admission tickets that are available to the good people. So that's your lowest cost ticket that you can get your hands on. So so that'll be a ticket that you can get for $15. So that's exciting. So it means that for less than the cost of a couple of cups of coffee, you can find yourself entry into AWE3. Of course, that'll buy you standing tickets, and there'll be plenty for you to watch and plenty to entertain you during the course of the day. Then you've got special little VIP seats. So these are front row seats. These are gold seats. So they're $100, and so they'll get you some niceties like the best seats in the house.
Back rub from you.
We will have a remedial masseuse on hand, actually. So there's every chance a back rub might be involved.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
So I can't guarantee that every ticket holder will receive one, but nonetheless,
we should. We won't, but we should.
Yeah. So that'll get you front row seats. That'll get you some time with the athletes as well, of course, and you'll be invited back for the after pool, so you'll be able to enjoy some special moments. Also, have your photos taken with all the athletes and hang out with us all as part of the event. And silver tickets, well, that's going to cost you a little bit less, but they're $50, and that'll also get you some access with the athletes. It'll get you a photo, it'll get you an autograph, and it'll get you some time on the after pool tables as well. So now there'll be some special VIP, VVIP tickets that'll also be available for the ultimate AWE experiences, and we'll release that information as we draw closer to the event.
That's right, absolutely. It'll be very, very exciting if you are here in South Australia or in Adelaide or even anywhere in the world and you want to come to AWE3. October 22nd is the date. It is a Sunday. It is here happening in Adelaide. There is 3 events happening in the same day. It will be a festival of a day of arm wrestling, and it's going to be incredible. We're going to have Ryan Bluebowen taking on Mazahir Saidu in the main event of AWE3. We'll have a tournament. We'll see the grand final of the tournament taking place in the first to 4 as part of the AWE3 first match. So the grand finals will take place on the pay-per-view event for those 2 lucky athletes that make their way through. And then we finish it off with a last man standing event, which is just absolutely fantastic. It's an hour non-stop of craziness, of non-stop matches. We averaged over 3 matches per minute at the last one that we did. We had 191 matches. Last Sportha was the one that walked away with both prizes. There is 2 prizes there. Anybody can enter that. Anybody can enter the tournament as well. It is right arm only. It is open weight. It is double elimination, and we're going to have an incredible day. And this man on the screen here will be featuring in the main event. So
Indeed. We're in discussions right now, negotiations, if you will, with accommodation providers, all nice and close to the event. So any arm wrestling fans making their way to Adelaide from interstate or overseas, of course, we hope to be able to look after you guys with some special deals on accommodation once you make your way here in Adelaide. And for those people that are looking to compete, of course, they can compete in the tournament or in last man standing or in both.
Yeah.
Have we got prices finalised for the tickets for those as yet?
Not finalised. I believe it's something about $50 to enter, and then like 30 for last man standing. So 50 for tournament, 30 for last man standing, and then a discount of 70 if you do both. Something like that. But we'll finalise that in the next. It'll be on the website when that's up and running. Are we going to discuss the pay-per-view prices at this point in time?
Oh, I don't know. Should we leave that until we've got the tickets all ready to go, and then people can just
let's leave it. It's gonna make people will be excited by that one. I reckon we'll leave that.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it.
I'm very
excited.
excited.
Pay-per-view as well.
It's part of the V. Yeah, that's right. I've bought it both times. So that I could see the live commentary, because you can't do it unless you're Ryan Bowen and you've got access to the YouTube channel. You can't go back and watch the live commentary, like the comments. So I was like, oh, I'll just buy it. It's like, oh, we got another sale. It's like, I wonder how that came out. It's part of the VVIP that you do get picked up from the airport on a snowmobile. Is that
on a snowmobile or in the back of your car with all of the arm wrestlers? So,
Yeah.
950 kilos of arm wrestler was crammed into the back of my car, including Ryan Barr. It was one of those. When I opened the door when we got to the hotel, Ethan Tunstall came springing out. He'd been squished in, and I closed the door, and then when I opened it, he's launched out. So yes, but Marcus Atirai was one of those men, and he will be featuring. It's 172 kilos of arm wrestler. He may be more at the moment, and he'll be taking on another giant in Matarangi, Heather Morris, in a huge match, a massive, enormous. I'm surprised if we can get them in frame. Like these guys, we have to make sure we might have to have a second table on hand just in case.
If you're watching the pay per view, you'll need one of a 70-inch TV for that one.
Yeah, one of those curved ones.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that? Was that a fad?
No,
they still make that.
I'm not sure I don't know if that's like beta technology that's just dropped it away.
I've been watching Ryan's match with James Wall on left arm on those ones. That's it. So we've got a couple of little comments here. There's a comment from AEW fan. He says, Bowen in capitals. Any future event coordinations with Monster Factory or Engen will fight that as well.
Yeah, Monster Factory. I know that they're
sound too excited.
I mean, Michael's comeback match. I've said it before. If Michael was brave enough to take me on and to risk the delusional title, delusional world title, whatever they want to call it, I'd be more than happy to fight him for it. But no, there isn't anything official in the works or anything like that. But and I don't know if Engen would even fight that. But I think Engen fighting my involvement in anything is a kind of a futile thing. He'll burn out of it. He'll stop caring about it, and he'll realize that he can't stop it anyway. So, I'd love to pull Michael. I've met Michael, but I've never pulled him. I think it'd be a very interesting. I
wonder if arm wrestling fan here is alluding to Monster Factory being one of those outfits that athletes will be released from East versus West too, and whether that might,
I think he's on the good list. He's on the good list.
Until until you and Michael are on it. Off the list all of a sudden. Monster Factory. We've got Yummy who says on the lock on Derek versus Chafee undercard Ryan versus Ron Barth, please.
Ooh.
Well, Ron, we haven't heard from Ron for a little while, but one of the legends of arm wrestling, and he is definitely somebody that you would match up quite well with, Ryan.
I spoke to John Brzenk the other day. I was just having a chat, and
so did I.
Yeah, we were just having a chat. He called me. Anyway.
Really?
Must have been after he called me. Yeah.
Well, Engen sent me a message.
Yeah, that's right.
And we were talking about the match. We were talking about the match against Artem, and he said that I surprised him. He had actually picked Artem to win the match based on the form that Artem was in. John knows my level pretty well. He's been witness to my matches a number of times, and he's gripped me as well. So he knew where I was at generally, and he thought Artem was going to win. And he said, "Man, you really surprised me. You handled Artem very comfortably, way better than I thought." And he said his suggestion at the time would be a Ron Barth match, and I was like, "Yeah, I would love the match with Ron Barth." So I think that would be awesome. There's also a little bit of a point to prove in my head with Ron Barth. Ron Barth actually referred to when I was potentially going to pull Todzilla, as he said, "What is it being shown on Comedy Central?" So Ron Barth, I haven't forgotten that you think I'm useless at arm wrestling.
It was just that one comment, and that's what stuck in my mind.
We remember Ron.
When people on the ladder above me make comments like that, I don't forget them. I don't, because I put it in my back pocket. And I say, there will come a time when we grip up, and I'll remind you of that, and you'll feel like, oh, yeah, shit. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I remembered Ron. Comedy Central. Don't worry, we'll make it happen.
We've got a folder of screenshots of certain comments from certain people.
Yeah, well, there are a lot. I mean, I get there's no shortage of people taking pot shots at me, but most of them are insignificant in my life. But they're, like I said, if they're a legend of the sport, if they're on the ladder above me or something like that, and they say something particular that gets under my skin, I've tried to evolve to a point where I no longer react to it publicly or react to it directly, but I don't forget it.
Mm. And of course, having been a witness to the matchup between Matarengi and Todd, how do you feel you might have gone in retrospect?
Oh yeah, you know, Mate Urangi did so well against Todd Hutchins. Todd really spoke highly of him after the match. We were all there. We saw how hard the match was fought. Physically, both men were shattered at the end of that. Sweat pouring off both men, and Todd said, "I've never had my hand blow up as much as it did against Mate Urangi." So I think there was nothing but respect for Mate Urangi's level. I know that Mate Urangi beat me. That's why he was the person that faced Todd. But it shows to me that the gaps are getting less and less and less. I would love to pull Todd Hutchins at some stage in my career. I think that Todd would respect that as well. Todd is someone who respects Artem Taranenko, trains with him regularly, and has spoken very high of him, saying that even Artem is starting to threaten Todd. So I don't think that he would have any hesitations in saying that he would have to treat me seriously. He would obviously be the favorite if we were ever to face, but I don't think it's at the point where it was a few years ago where he just giggled it off. I think now he would say, yeah, no, Ryan's strong.
Yeah. Do you think biltong's made a difference?
Oh, well, absolutely. the barbell foods, there it is. Good plug. Enter code arm wrestle, by the way, for 10% off. Yeah, the old
arm wrestle.
Well, we've got a nice comment here from Paul Maiden. This is definitely not Paul on the Arm Gods thing. I think Marcus has pushed him aside and he's taken over for the moment. This is Ryan, with all due respect, you're definitely capped, but your positive outlook has always been your best quality. I really hope you succeed, comma.
Yeah, that's definitely not Paul Maiden.
Well, although definitely
tag, for instance, in that that message.
Right. It can't be him then.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if Irishmen use the same term, but if something's tapped out, that means they're at their limit in my book. So I don't think I'm anywhere near my limit, if that's what you were alluding to, Marcus or Paul, whoever it is. But I appreciate the support. But one of the qualities that I've fallen most in love with in this sport is patience and just discipline to just to not stop training and just to not stop always trying to get better. And because of the blessing that this sport provides in the form of longevity, there's a long way to go still for me. And there's no way I'm at my peak. There's no way I'm at my peak. I feel within myself physically there's so much upside still. I'm only 12 months into training what I call foundation strength. Under Sebastian Oreb, now Lachlan Adair, I'm being guided, and I think that there's a lot of transformation still to go there. And then even in my arm wrestling specific stuff, I know I've been arm wrestling a decade, and I'm pretty conditioned to the sport. But again, take someone like Devon Larratt as an example. Look how, and Engen Terzi is another one. Look how both those guys, how twisted up their pronation is, and how impossible it is for people to unwind. That wasn't the case for them 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They were different arm wrestlers. So there are benefits and rewards to longevity in arm wrestling that I know I will receive them because I love the sport so much, and I'm so committed to the discipline of just turning up to training every day. Masters of monotony. I saw Lachlan Adair say that the other day, and I loved that quote. I thought, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it takes to become great in this sport. Great at almost anything, isn't it? You got to be willing to put that discipline into action, and so I'm a long way from my best, but I'm just getting started.
Seem to be improving rapidly, especially in the last 12 months since you've been doing the foundation training. You've almost changed shape, and since the Coach Ray match, where you looked like you'd cut a lot of weight for that match, but carrying you and to how you looked back then to yourself now. It's almost night and day difference. So,
and I think a lot of people lose track because you've seemingly been a permanent fixture of the arm wrestling world for almost a decade now. People lose track of that. You're not even 40 yet, are you?
38 at the moment.
So you're still a young man, so 38 years of age in an arm wrestling sense.
Todd Hutchins started the sport at 36, so gives you an idea. Tim Bresnan started at 47.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty of time. Absolutely.
Victor E has a comment for Ryan. He says, Ryan, I know you don't, but I definitely miss you on the fix. Okay. It's not quite the same when you're not there. I listened to all of them just days ago, and it is just not the same anymore.
Yeah, there we go. Seasons come and seasons go. There was definitely a season where I enjoyed my time on the fix. Myself and Ray and Neil at the time, we really started that, and I think I was on for 120 episodes or something. So almost 2 years of weekly content there. We're discussing everything. Yeah, man. No, I haven't watched the fix in about 6 months or whenever it was that I got off it. So it's I don't know what it's like there anymore. But like I said, seasons come, seasons go, and yeah, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did it all of that end? Was it just a matter of that you didn't get sent the link anymore?
No, this was before any of the major conflicts that people might remember. But I just said I've had enough. Thanks, but I'm done with this, and I'm going to go do something else. So
yeah.
It's one of those things. If you've got the skill and the talent, and you can speak, and you've got the charisma and the ability, then if you're restricting yourself to one show, it's like, oh, actually, I think I can do this and do it on my own, and maybe reach out and get some people and start my own version of this. And yeah, why not? There you go. That's right. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
That's
good point.
This comment here made me sort of giggle a little bit. But Murdoch says, I came for the AWE podcast, not the Bowen podcast. So I don't think he's aware that Ryan is a co-director and owner of AWE. How dare you, Ryan? How dare you take up the time?
Don't lie, Murdoch. You're enjoying it. We know you are.
We hope. I'm sure he's still watching. I've got either Marcus or Paul, one of the two, or maybe it's both. Says, we all know that Neil does what he does best and used up all the top internet stars for the fix to benefit himself as usual.
Ooh.
Paul.
I don't know if the arm gods like Neil very much.
I don't know. We don't know which one it is. It could be Marcus. It could be Paul. Could be anybody, really.
Whoever's behind the
name. If you had to pull against Matawaringi, Hedda Morris again, different tactics, different strategies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I know exactly how I would do it. I chose the wrong option last time, and then the right option was exhausted. I could no longer utilize it. But I believe I could beat Matawaringi if I had another go, for sure.
Was that the press? Was that the phone call from Lock On Adair that said you need to press him?
Look, the phone call on the day, that's funny that happened like that. But he was right at the time. That the press was the only hope that was left, given all what had unfolded. I wouldn't be coming out of the gates pressing out Matawaringi, no. But I would. Let's just say it. I tried to top roll him, and I failed. I've seen him forced into a hook a couple of times now, and I know that I can beat him in the hook when it's fresh and fresh. I would really come forward at him and just get into that. I mean, I got a good delay against Matawaringi with my wrist back. If I can get my arm into that same position but have my wrist here, happy days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was an incredible match that you guys had, and then Matawaringi going on to have another incredible battle against Toddzilla. When you were watching that match with Matawaringi and Todd, what were you thinking? Because a lot of people had Matawaringi as a very heavy underdog, and they were saying, Todd's just going to walk through and just blow through this dude 4-0, and it was a really tough match. And Matawaringi ended up winning one of the rounds as well. So, your thoughts watching the match?
My thoughts is, I was just so happy for Matawaringi and for the Oceanic region. I've always been very aware or hyper aware of how the culture of the sporting community on the internet, and even amongst some of the more respected athletes, has looked down upon this region as though we are no good at the sport. People like to make jokes about it, and then some people actually think it to be a reality that that arm wrestlers in the Southern Hemisphere just aren't up to scratch. Matt Dairangi up against Todd Hutchins was, as you said, it was written up prior. I think the polls had it at about 90% whitewash towards Todd. People are saying it's a joke of a match that shouldn't even be happening, yada, yada, yada. So to see Matt Dairangi actually take the opening round was amazing. And to see the sweats that both these guys had in the way that they fought that blockbuster main event, that was awesome. So I was thrilled for Matt Dairangi to get that opportunity to prove himself, and I hope that the world saw Matt Dairangi for what he's capable of in that match. And yeah, so I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Oh man, I've never seen, and I honestly mean this, people sweat as much as both those guys did on that.
They gave it their all.
I was looking at Todd, and I've watched it back on video after, and it's still impressive to see. But in person, it looked, and I'm not joking when I say it looked like he was standing under the shower, and it was pouring off of him.
I
remember seeing comments online saying, "Gee whiz, you'd think the AWE guys would at least put some air conditioning on for the event." And we're like, that was them with the air conditioning on. That was the air conditioning on. They were still sweating that much.
Yeah, it was 21 degrees.
Yeah, the state of the art Adelaide Oval is in the McCary room with the fantastic, world class entertainment. Is like, oh no, we don't need air conditioning in there. Yeah,
so I'm overall I'm excited anytime that the Oceanic region gets to prove themselves to the rest of the world. And even the fact that we've always had to travel to the Northern Hemisphere to get those opportunities in the past, I'm really proud of AWE, and that we're giving the opportunity for us to have the home ground. No matter what the sport is, it's an advantage to have the home ground. And I saw people complain about it, like people defending Artem for losing, saying, but he had to travel. People, same thing for Jordan Sill, but he had to travel. And same thing for Todd Hutchins. He was weaker because he had to travel. Yeah, okay, I'll accept that. But that's been the status quo for us every single time. This was the first time we've ever had home ground advantage. And look at the results. We all did very well. It shows that traveling is hard. And yeah, we've had to do it every single damn time we've gone overseas. So it's nice to have some home ground advantages, and I don't even deny them. I think, yeah, home ground advantage. Deal with it. We've had to.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we're going to pull you back into the world of arm wrestling pop culture. So who's going to win these two matches? Rivas versus Vitali and Hermes v. Devon.
I think Vitali will win. I think Rivas is amazing, but I think Vitali is still the king of the top of the table. He is the tallest arm wrestler in the elite ranks, and his top roll will subsequently, in my opinion, be too much for Rivas to contain. I think if Rivas was able to force it into any sort of wrist-on-wrist situation, he will win. Rivas is more well-rounded in terms of styles than Vitali is, but Vitali is that glass cannon, that massive, just one weapon that's going to come at you. And I think that he's too good up top for Rivas at this stage. I could be wrong, but that's my gut feel. Hermes and Devon. I was at first I said 90% Hermes was likely to win this. I felt that he has too much strength at the moment. It was shown in evidence. For me, the main reason why I believe Hermes will win is what he did to Levan. And it was, I look at center table. I think that Devon may win the hand control. There's a chance Devon may win the hand control and subsequently be in a great position. But the thing that, if we remember the way that Devon lost to Gennady, the reason Devon lost to Gennady was, look, he had hand control on Gennady. He was unable to finish the arm of Gennady, and subsequently actually wore out his own bicep, and Gennady pushed through center. Hermes is stronger than Gennady by a substantial margin, evidenced by the fact that he lost his wrist and held up Levan. Okay, held up. Let's just realize that again. He lost his wrist and still held up Levan. he lost. It was like the shape of that match was very similar to the shape of my match with Matt Rangi. So if Devon takes control of the hand and wrist of Hermes, I still think Hermes' arm is going to be too much for Devon. So I sit in the camp that I think Hermes will win this match. Yeah.
And Benji says Hermes will lose his friends. So Benji's friends.
Frienda.
Yeah, a friender. Yeah.
My
So
friend.
so
Hermes will lose, my friend.
will lose my friend.
My friend.
That's fantastic. Marcus Paul says, I can see Devon taking Hermes out, guys. I really can. Well, he will hold that number 2 spot in the world if he does.
He's showing Devon's showing the mental momentum. You can see the self-belief that he believes he can do it. And he's seen the plan and the path in his mind. We're getting that. I haven't been watching the videos, but the little all I've been seeing is the headlines. I'm just sensing that Devon knows the path that he's got to go. So I feel on Hermes' side that he would be the person that would be more nervous. The pressure is on Hermes to win, I think he's a favorite. So it's never easy to have the pressure on you. So I think that Devon has that freedom at the moment of being considered the underdog, and he's excited to have a go. Hermes, the pressure is on, but I do believe he's strong enough to get the job done.
Do you think the oxygen bottle will come out at any point?
Shouldn't do. Not for these guys.
What do you think Devon's strategy will be? Because I mean, he obviously the top roll that Levan implemented took the hand and wrist quite comfortably, but as you mentioned, Hermes was able to hold up with his arm strength and was bringing it back until Levan. I
think we will see Devon try to do what he did against Taras Ivakin back in the PAL glory days. I think Devon will look to stop the match with top roll pressure, and then he'll look to bring the match inside if he can. He may lose his wrist even a bit, but he'll look to keep his pronation alive. If he loses his wrist but keeps his thumb pronated, he'll be able to bring the match back. We've seen Devon say that he'd be happy to start in a hook round 1. Hermes said he would be as well. I think they're foxing with each other on that. But I do think that Devon, the way Devon imagines his victory would be to achieve a stop, bring the match inside wrist on wrist, and ultimately win the match on a rotation level.
How do you think the setup will go with do you think Devon will
Devon will be as high as he can. That's all he'll do. He'll recognize the explosive power of Hermes, and the biggest threat will be in the first 1 second of the match after the initiation. So Devon will just be looking to survive the first couple of seconds, and he'll do that by getting as high as he can in the setup and getting his pronation as far away from his opponent's hand as he can. Devon's pronation is his main weapon, so he'll look to utilize that as much as possible.
Absolutely. Well, so we start wrapping things up. Do you think
we can wrap it all up? We want to thank everybody for tuning into the AWE podcast. We'd like to thank our very, very special guest, Ryan Blue Bowen, for popping on the podcast once again. And we'd also like to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. So Barbell Foods, Biltong. What is biltong? Well, it's just like beef jerky, but it's not dried in an oven like beef jerky. No, it's air dried, all at ambient temperature. And no, not just hanging out in somebody's bathroom or in their shed or something like that. It's all done in the proper environment. But what you do get is a meat product that retains more of its protein and more of its natural elements for your betterment. So fantastic. You can see the results. The man on screen is testament to the additional strength gains that can be had as a result of enjoying biltong from our friends there at Barbell Foods. So hit the code word arm wrestle. Arm wrestle. Will be not arm wrestler. Arm wrestle.
Friender.
Arm wrestle and get yourself 10% off. And of course, Munster's hot sauce. We love them. So if you've been testing out some other hot sauces and maybe Tabasco isn't quite doing it for you anymore, well, the Munster's hot sauce is a 12 out of 10. Hollywood Matt Connelly, you can attest to that, indeed. So now, stay tuned. If you can hold off on your purchase of some Munsters, we're going to have a special deal available on that next week. So stay tuned. Maybe hold off on your Munsters purchase till then, and then you can whack a code word in and get yourself great discounts on Amazon's #1 hot sauce, Munster's hot sauce, another fine Australian product. And of course, Roll Clean Soaps. Kat and the team there are doing a wonderful job making sure that anybody who's involved in combat sports, much like ourselves, who's in close proximity with people that are sweating all over you, like Todd Hutchings, for instance. If you're arm wrestling with Todd Hutchings, then of course Roll Clean will come to your rescue, and it's a disinfectant. It will stave off infections like staph and all of those things that you get when you're in close proximity with other athletes. And clean, and not only that, smells fantastic and looks delicious. Although I am told shouldn't eat it, but nonetheless,
You did eat it.
I did, and I'm still alive.
I like your comment after you ate it. You were like, soapy.
Not as it looks, not as delicious as it looks. But thank you very much again, Ryan, for coming onto the podcast. Thank you, Hollywood's Matt Connelly. Thank you to all the sponsors, all the fans. Anybody else to thank before we go away?
We'll do one last question for Ryan because I do want to actually find out the answer myself. John versus Alexi for voter.
I think Alexi is the firm favorite in this one. He failed to come back once. He won't want to fail a second comeback. He's taking it very seriously. He's training in a camp that it consists of Denis Saplenkov, Dada Khan, Morozov. He's got studs all around him, and he's training ferociously. He's a much bigger man than John. John is on a bit of a streak of losses at the moment. John's not fired up like Alexi is to win. John's more just enjoying the twilight of his career. I don't think his heart is in it as much as Alexi's. Alexi, to prove a point, will win dominantly.
Who will win in a bobsled race?
Is it a drug-tested bobsled race?
Well,
you know Alexi failed that. He already got his gold medal stripped.
Oh, did he? Does that mean he's not allowed to pull in WAF?
Who knows?
If anyone else pulls when he's been tested positive on the card, well, there you go.
Yeah, can't go on his
they've made the rule. Yeah, well, they got to stick by it. Anyone who appears on that card can't be on any WAF events in the future. All right. Well, yeah. So you wrapped it up perfectly, and then I just dragged it on. But thank you again to everybody and Mr. Dave Stockbridge, the third inaugural winner of his own award.
Yes.
So then there it is. There, the illustrious award held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. We've got Ryan Bluebone, who will be facing Mezi Hisadu at AWE 3, October 22nd. Thank you, everyone, for watching the AWE podcast. We will be back. So if somebody asked, when do we come on? Thursday afternoons, Adelaide time is usually when we will be here, but we do schedule it. So just follow any one of our YouTube channels and you'll see the scheduled event coming
Get your
up.
notifications and you'll know exactly when we're on. But every week, we don't skip a beat here.
No.
And next week, big announcements, pay-per-view prices will be released.
Ooh.
So that's going to be pretty exciting. And there'll also be more.
That's it. All right.
Stuff.
One double bicep to finish off. There we go. It's in the contract. Look out. All right. And we'll end that one there.